Okay, so let's talk about the hidden language that shapes our relationships. For most of my life, I had no idea this language even existed. All I knew was that it was making me miserable, and it almost always started with a simple text message.
It would always start so innocently. A text from my mother. On the surface, the words were just perfect. A casual invitation, a clear out, no pressure.
But all my body was telling a completely different story. As I read those words, that familiar, awful knot just formed right in my gut. It was this physical alarm bell telling me that the words I was reading, well, they weren't the whole truth. And this was the question that just haunted me for years. What was this invisible thing happening in our conversations? Why would a simple, polite message leave me feeling so anxious and guilty and just completely confused? Before I could even find an answer, I had to learn to just sit with the conflict itself. That really strange, powerful clash between what was being said out loud and what my body was feeling deep, deep down. And then I found something. I discovered a concept that felt like someone handed me a secret decoder ring for all human interaction. And honestly, it changed everything. It turns out that a lot of our most confusing conversations are kind of like a magic trick. There are two different things happening at the exact same time: what you're being shown and what's actually going on underneath. And this brilliant idea from a field called transactional analysis finally gave a name to that twisting feeling in my stomach. It's called an ulterior transaction. So here's the crucial part. So many of our communications are running on two channels at once. You've got the social level, that's the explicit stuff, the words you can say out loud. And then you've got the psychological level, the hidden message, the one that's carried in the tone of voice, the context, the whole history between two people. And this insight right here, this is everything. This is why my gut feeling was always so much more powerful than the words on the screen. My unconscious mind was picking up on the real message, the psychological one, and it was just screaming warning. So let's put my mother's text under the microscope. The social message, that was from her adult self to my adult self. It was a simple, optional invitation. But the hidden, psychological message, that was coming from her parent self straight to my inner child. And it wasn't a request at all. It was a command with a side of emotional blackmail. Once I saw this pattern, it was like my eyes were suddenly opened. I started spotting these hidden messages, these little manipulative games absolutely everywhere. First up, the classic guilt trip, disguised as just simple information. You've probably heard this one from a mother-in-law or maybe an older relative. The words themselves sound so accommodating, don't they? I'm easygoing. But that martyred tone, the sad look on their face, that's what delivers the real message: a powerful demand for guilt and a whole lot of special attention. And then there's this one: criticism cleverly packaged as concern. This one is a total staple at family gatherings. It's really the perfect way to insult somebody while looking like you're just a loving, caring relative. The words say, "I care," but the subtext is screaming, "I judge." And the workplace classic, a personal favorite, the demand pretending to be a polite request. This one usually gets delivered at like 6 p.m. on a Friday. The words say optional, but the power dynamic, the timing, the context, all of it ensures that the hidden threat is the only message that really lands. Your boss gets to look reasonable, and you get to ruin your weekend. So through all of this, I learned to finally stop dismissing that physical feeling in my gut. I wasn't being oversensitive. No, my nervous system was acting like a perfect lie detector, telling me that the words and the real message were dangerously out of sync. That feeling isn't noise, it's data. But the most empowering part of all this was realizing that while I couldn't change how other people communicate, I could absolutely change how I responded. I could choose to stop playing the game. This led me to this really practical 4-step strategy to get out of these games and just get my peace of mind back. And let me tell you, the first step is by far the most powerful. So I decided to run a little experiment. I took my mother's no pressure at its word. I responded only to the social message. I wrote back, "Thanks so much for the invitation, Ma. I already have plans, so I'll miss it this time." That's it. No long excuses, no apologies. I simply refused to bite the psychological hook. Eventually, I took an even bigger risk. I decided to just name the game. In a calm moment, I asked her for exactly the kind of communication I needed. I asked for honesty, without all the hidden traps. And there was this long pause on the phone. And then something amazing happened. The games just fell away. She just said what she meant. For the first time in what felt like forever, we had a real conversation, adult to adult. And it was just freeing. For both of us.
Because that's what this all boils down to, isn't it? Every single day we get hit with these double messages, but we always have a choice. We can respond to the hidden manipulation, or we can respond to the words that were actually spoken. The choice to stop playing the game and answer only what's real, well, that can change everything.